Welcome to the Wildcast Podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios, with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome back to Wildcast Christmas Studios for another episode of the Wildcast Podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats. As always, fan listeners, I am your elf and host, Adam, and of course I'm joined by your favorite elf and your favorite co-hoster, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. Are you getting closer to being ready for Christmas?
Let me do some math here. I'm about $500 left.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm really getting down to the 11th hour here.
Last 12 more days.
Yeah, well, with shipping and everything's going to be probably take longer now with shipping because of the time of the year that it is. But,
so you're an Amazon shopper?
So I've got 2 more things in my cart on Amazon that I still need to order.
Right.
I still got my Secret Santa from Megan's side of the family to buy for.
Right.
And I've got my nephews to buy for, and I still have one more thing from my mom to buy.
Huh.
I'm so far behind right now, so stressed out. But yeah, once it's over, it's you can just kind of get that weight off your back, right?
Yep.
It's like you can finally relax and put your feet up.
It's so much different than when you're a kid, obviously, because you have to buy all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're a kid, you're looking forward to Christmas because you got that sweet 2-week school break and you could sleep in. Maybe not you, but me. You could be up all night with your buddies, Christmas cookies and food and this. And now you're like, cool, I get 4 days off work. And then I'm back. And you got to buy everything. I can't even. So you're more of an Amazon shopper than a mall type shopper?
I can't stand going to the mall.
Oh, I love going to the mall.
I'm an online shopper. If I could, there was that, a couple weekends ago when wife and I went to the mall and did Christmas shopping, and we were there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I could have, seriously hit somebody just because I didn't like how I don't like crowded places.
Right.
And I can only imagine how worse it is now than it would have been 2 weeks ago. I'm definitely an Amazon guy. Online, Amazon, it's at my doorstep in
Weird.
2 days. That's my kind of Christmas shopping.
Yeah, I'm more of a go get it at the mall. I know what I have. I know what I bought. I get to wrap it all. I could have an Amazon account. Layla's got all the Amazon accounts. So for me to go shopping for her, she'd be like, why'd you put this in the Dropbox or in the cart, as it's called? But, the Alberta side is done. I've got the one gift for Layla that's going to win Christmas. And then I got to get all the small gifts because I know everyone's like, oh, it's all about the presents and I don't need a lot of presents. And I do. I want like one big one and then like 4 or 5 little ones. Like, I just want to open things for more than 10 minutes because it's such a, and it's getting even longer now because, the Christmas season starts November 1st, apparently. But it's like it takes so long to get here. And then in like 3 minutes, it's over. Everyone's opened like 3 presents. And you're like, cool, now what?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, so at least being here now, I can get up at 8, 9 o'clock and wait for my family to get up at 6 a.m. and try to have because when I was back home last year, them kids get up early.
I can imagine.
Them kids get up.
Yeah.
They get up early, but your body's kind of on the East Coast time, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But no, we're staying here, and you guys are staying here too, aren't you?
Yeah. This year's New Brunswick. Next year will be Ontario. We usually flip flop every year. So
yeah, we did Alberta last year. This year will be here. Next year will probably be Ontario, but maybe we'll have a joyous little bundle and we'll have some time off and we can do both over the holidays. But got some things to do before we get there. Don't forget, as always, you can follow us on social medias: Twitter, Moncton Wildcast; Instagram, Wildcast Podcast; TikTok, Wildcast Podcast; and now on the YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The newest TikTok, the Riley Sampson warm-up laps, up to 3,500.
wow.
I won't lie, I'm a little embarrassed that the team did not promote that at all.
Yeah.
Not promote me. Did not promote his
Rookie
debut,
lap?
his rookie lap, nothing. You got to do those little things, especially for kids that they may not make it to the next level. This is a pretty big deal for them.
Yeah.
So, especially for their families who are not always around. So, let's get into the quick question. I mean, I took this from the Jets TikTok. I was talking to, I showed you it up in the press box in St. John, which again, thank you, Gabby Schofield,
Yes.
for allowing us to be up there. Rank these three, sir. Pancakes, waffles, French toast.
Okay, so I'm a big waffle guy.
Okay.
I like the crunch factor.
Yeah.
You need a little crunch.
Chicken and waffles guy? Or
Chicken.
waffle?
Oh, chicken and waffles is phenomenal.
Yeah, did IHOP?
That's a breakfast, lunch, or dinner meal. You can eat that anytime.
Is that your IHOP meal?
There's better chicken and waffles around
Mm-hmm.
compared to IHOP. So if I see a chicken and waffles on a menu and I'm at like let's say a Montana's
Yeah.
or a Jack Astor's, I'll
Yeah.
probably I might not get it, but if I'm not in a steak mood or a burger mood, I'll go chicken and waffles. I mean, it's
Or if you hadn't had it in like 3 months? Or you got to be in a mood for it?
you got to be in a mood for chicken and waffles
At night,
It's a
anyways.
different kind of meal.
Right.
Because you also have you got to nail the chicken and waffles. Like if it's if it doesn't have icing sugar on it, if it doesn't have maple syrup drizzled all over the top, it's not chicken and waffles. Like that's chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
Chicken needs to be crispy, needs
Spiced
to be
right.
spiced right, needs to be cooked for one thing.
Yeah, step one.
So just getting the crunch from the waffle and the chicken and the sweetness from the icing sugar and the maple syrup, the spiciness, it's all the feelings in
Right.
your mouth, right?
Yeah.
For me, pancakes is 2. French toast is what's big of French toast. I mean, I don't understand French toast. I mean, it's so easy to make, but it's just not something that I like. I'm not a French toast guy.
That is number 1. For
You
me.
like French toast?
Oh, I love French toast. French toast, if it's done properly, my sister makes a French toast bake. Layla makes it too. I don't like that. Like, I don't like the French toast baked all in everything. She found this new thing on, I don't know, one of the internets, TikTok, somewhere. You French toast, you batter it, you cook it, you flatten the bread, and you put breakfast sausage in there, and you roll it
up.
over.
Yeah, it's like
Then
pigs in a blanket.
Yeah, but
French
it's French toast
pig.
style.
Yeah.
Oh, those I don't like change. I really don't, and I got the palate of an 8-year-old. So she made that one morning, and I was like, "Ugh." And then I had it, and I'm like, oh my god, that is wonderful. Yeah, I'm French toast 1, pancakes 2, and then waffles 3.
Wow.
Now I'm not gonna, and again, I'll have any 3 of those at any time of
Yeah.
the day. It does not; these are not breakfast foods. For me, IHOP. I had it out in Calgary a couple times. I've been twice since I've been here. Once was with a gift card. Once was with free tickets from the Wildcats the next day kind of thing. It's overrated for me. Like, give me Jeans. Give me the one on Mountain Road that I literally... Heinz. Give me those old school places before I go to IHOP, which is just run-of-the-mill chain. Like, you know what I mean? So
Granville Street Diner.
yes, Granville Street Diner. Absolutely. I've been there every time we go across the island for an Islanders game. That's where we go for breakfast, which I got to get out there because you know who I miss talking to? Hockey Hat Guy.
Yeah.
I miss that dude. Like, he used to be a presence on social media, and obviously I don't know what's going on, but he stepped back from the Hockey Hat Guy. He's just Jake at the hockey games. But, I mean, if you're out there, buddy, you're doing – hope you're doing great. I miss talking to you, and I think they play – where's my schedule? February 11th. It's a Saturday, so maybe Layla and I try to get out there for a weekend. Maybe we'll get out there, see how you're doing. But, yeah, waffles for me, I will have them, but they're not my go-to.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought we'd be.
Disappointed in you.
I actually thought you'd be pancakes before waffles.
See, pancakes.
There's an art to making pancakes.
It is an art because it's a plain pancake. A plain pancake is just bland.
Yeah.
Right. You need something to. It's like anything else, right? If it's bland, it's crap.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna go eat a plain waffle, right? I need something on it,
Yeah.
right? Spiced up a little bit, some whipped cream and some, drizzle. I make it presentable. If a pancake is presentable, I'll eat it.
Mm-hmm.
If waffles are presentable, I'll eat it.
If French toast is presentable,
I just don't see how you can elevate French toast. Maybe your little roll up ideas sounds good.
yeah.
But I mean, French toast, put some berries on it and some, maple syrup, but it's just you can't elevate French toast the same way you can elevate pancakes and
Right.
waffles.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of on that.
Well, you know what? We don't always have to agree, and it's sometimes a better show when we don't. But we will agree, and we will agree on moving on to news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
So I had typed up Canada opens its World Junior Selection Camp this week, and then I realized, well, no, they've announced the team.
Yes,
they
they did.
announced the team on Monday. I thought it was a little early considering the tournament doesn't start for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The exhibition games don't start till next Monday, so I thought Wednesday, Thursday we might hear who the team is.
Mm-hmm.
But they obviously announced the roster. Caden Banker, one of those WHL names.
That's
Connor
such a
Bedard,
dumb name.
kind of a bubble guy. Good to see him finally make it.
Who?
Connor Bedard. You're going to hear big things
Never
about
heard
that
of
guy. Oh, big things about Connor Bedard, trust me. Colton Dack, Zach Dean, Adam Fantinelli, Nathan Gauthier, Dylan Gunther, Zach Ostapachuk.
That's a dub name.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Brandon Othman, Joshua Waugh, Reed Schaefer, Logan Stankoven, Shane
name.
Wright. Yep. Nolan Allen on the defense. Brant Clark, your guy.
My boy.
Ethan, when you talk, they listen.
That's
you
right,
talked
man.
about
I
him.
value it. I said I wore my Barry Colt shirt last
Yeah.
week for a reason.
Yep.
Because I was upset. Maybe I was a little upset because I totally forgot he was with the LA Kings. But literally, he was released to Team Canada the morning we released our show.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah. Ethan DeMastro, Tyson Hines, Kevin Korchinski,
That's a dub name.
yep, Jack Mader, Olin Zellweger, and your goaltenders, Benjamin Gaudreau, I think from Sarnia.
Yep.
And Thomas Milic, who I think is from Seattle. Yeah. So Jordan Dumais, not on the list. And again, each media outlet or fan that follows the league kind of like we do, they see their league guys, they think, Jordan Dumais is at 2 points a game. He should be on this team.
Well,
And I thought
he's got next year.
He does. And I thought he was a lock to at least be the 13th forward in Halifax. You're trying to make a good impression as Hockey Canada coming back. I thought maybe he'd be squeaking on there. But Dylan Gunther being released, Shane Wright being released, Brant Clark being released.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what ultimately hurt Jordan Dumais, his opportunity to be a 13th forward on this team. And he might have been the 13th forward that played himself into the lineup with big goals as he's been known to score. But that was kind of the biggest surprise for me because the tournament is in Halifax, and I'm a little shocked that they didn't put not that they have to put a guy in the market when they're in Canada, but I thought maybe if there was going to be a guy with LaRue's injury, maybe if he had a full start, he might have been there. But no representation from Halifax in the Halifax tournament. I guess, what are your thoughts on Team Canada?
You know what? I said last week I said it wasn't a gold medal team, and I have to change my mind now. Just because they got Dylan Gunther, they got Shane Wright, they got Brant Clark. Those are huge additions.
Yeah.
There's obviously one that kind of surprised me. That's Carson Lambos. I mean, he was on the summer team, I think, and he's cut this time around, so that's kind of a surprise. I think even Riley Kidney was on the summer team, but I think he got hurt in that first U Sports game and just couldn't. It must be serious enough that he can't make the team. And Zach Bolduc. I mean, come on, like he was he didn't make it. Like there's some names on there that kind of jump off the page, but that Caden Bankier, I'd never heard of him until this roster was released.
Right.
This is his first Hockey Canada experience, right?
Yep.
So can you imagine, being left off like the U17s and the U18s, and then, getting a shot to make Team Canada, and you make it. Yeah. I mean, that's that's one player I'm going to be following just because I don't know much. I don't know a lot about him. So I'll be following that. But
is he a Dub guy?
Caden, I think he's on. My head is saying Kamloops. I don't know. It's just jumping off the page as being a Kamloops Blazer for some reason, but
because Logan Stankoven's from Kamloops. That's he and Bedard grew up together.
Okay, so he's not Kamloops, but he's honestly I'd never heard of him before.
Nailed it.
Is Kamloops?
Yep, Surrey,
Nice.
BC. He's from Kamloops.
Nice. I do follow. I'm not just a Q guy.
No, a big Kamloops guy.
Yeah. I honestly think maybe the goaltending is going to be their question mark, but
Yeah.
I think they've got, up front they can score enough goals that, they could probably win a 6-5 game. And no, I think there's a very good chance that we see this team in the gold medal game, and maybe we'll finally see a celebration on the Scotiabank Center ice because the Mooseheads failed to do that at the Memorial Cup a couple of years ago. So I'll take a dig at the Mooseheads on that one, accidentally on purpose, and go Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Ty Bell and Mueller head off to I think Truro for their selection camp with Switzerland. So obviously we wish them a ton of success, and how cool it would be for both of them to represent the Wildcats with Switzerland in Moncton. I was talking to Sanderson before we were doing the game on Sunday, the Flyers game, and I'm like, well, here's how this is going to finish. U.S., Finland, Switzerland, Latvia, and then Canada, Sweden, Germany, Czech. So we're going to get our annual Canada versus Latvia in the quarterfinal, and Latvia is going to scare the ever-living bejesus out of Canada, and then Canada will survive, and away we go.
I wouldn't put Germany ahead of the Czech Republic.
No?
No, I wouldn't put Germany ahead of the Czechs.
Okay.
No, I think the Czechs are. They've got some talent. I think they can maybe take a run at Sweden for second in the group.
Okay. This would have been the year to get Sam Constantine on instead of last
Yes.
year when we had him on, went through the whole spiel.
Yeah.
Played one game in Edmonton. They went, nope, no more tournament. It's going to be a fun tournament. I hope you guys have all your tickets. I know when we were going to Bucktouche yesterday for the game, Latvia and Germany are playing an exhibition game in Bucktouche.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, tickets are $20.
Holy shoot.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I don't think that's including Ticketmaster's $45 fees, so it's not actually $65. I think face value tickets are just $25. But obviously, if you have the chance to get out, support it, because like I've been telling a lot of people at work, I mean, if we have a bad showing, this tournament may never come back here, and we have to show the ability that, hey, we can host this thing, and maybe we'll get Canada as a host here. What roster you got there?
This is the Czechs.
Okay.
So they got Brabenik, they've got Schmuller, Hauser, Koss, Kulik, Cape Breton Eagles legend Yuri Kulik,
Nice.
Marcel, Edward Saleh, who's will be a top pick in the next summer's NHL draft, David Spacek, Stanislav Svovil, David Moravec from Halifax, David Jurasek. They're loaded with talent.
They got Satney in that too, don't
They
they?
got Satney if he makes it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's Ivan?" But he's 20 years old, so he can't.
Don't count out the Czechs. I think
Yeah.
they can challenge Sweden for second in that group.
You heard it here first. Obviously, the biggest news and notes from around the league is when we talk, more so Germany talks, the Q Draft is coming back live, ladies and gentlemen, which means we're going to the Q Draft in Sherbrooke, June 10th, in person at the, I'm going to butcher this, but here we go, Palade de Sports Leonard Droyle, whatever it is. The rink in Sherbrooke, June 10th. I mean, I was hoping it was a little bit closer. There it is.
We did it, folks. Hey, listen to us. We did it.
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be a little bit closer, just travel-wise. But, I mean, Sherbrooke was supposed to hold it when all this went down. They've held it in 2014 and 2015, so this is their third time. In addition to the entry draft, the league will host the Hall of Fame induction ceremony at the theater on June 8th, which is, we're now 8 members of the history. So probably the few that didn't get in because of of COVID. But, man, I don't know how they're going to do this. I think they're going to do it flat out like they used to. Full on every kid in the stands, all the fans, all the teams, all the everything. They kind of
one side for
they're
the
having
prospects,
it. Yeah,
the
they're
other side
having
for
it.
the
That's
fans.
the main thing. I didn't care how they were going to do it. They're having it, and like Gilles Courtois said in the little interview on the Q site, it's undoubtedly a memorable experience for a hockey player and his family to hear his name called by one of our teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only league that does this, and for the kids that don't move to the NHL, this is it, and this is an honor for all of these kids.
Yep, 100%. I'm so excited. This is.
I don't even care if they charge.
Well,
It'll probably be free, but
it will. I'm pretty sure it'll be free.
but I wouldn't care if they charged.
Like I've been on these websites like Vrbo and Airbnb and checking hotel prices and stuff like that, and it seems like the league's gotten a good grip on the hotel rooms already in Sherbrooke because there's like next to nothing left. But there's little small towns around like Magog. You can stay in Magog and you're literally 20 minutes away from Sherbrooke. So I actually know somebody that has an Airbnb in Magog. So maybe I can reach out to him and see if we can stay there. But I think there's a pretty good chance that myself and Adam will be there.
There's 100% chance we'll be there.
Not sure if the ladies will accompany us, but it could very well be a gentleman's trip. No, I think there's if we can maybe go up on a Thursday and have a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday night there, and then come back home on the Sunday. Fun fact: it's actually a shorter drive to go through the States to get to Sherbrooke than it is going through Quebec.
And that's why the ladies will join us, because they will want to go to Target.
I want to go to the Olive Garden in Bangor for some bread and some pasta. But yeah, this is going to be fun.
There is a hotel that we stayed at. I think it's called the Lion. When we went to her friend's.
You're not allowed making jokes on the show.
No, her friend's wedding was at their house, but we stayed at the. I think the translation was the Lion, and it was just outside of the Sherbrooke. I can't find it right now, but yeah. And you know what? We know someone who lives there, and they have a really big house. So we'll see. I don't care how we're staying there. We're going. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned to all of our social medias. We're gonna. Step one was getting the league to have an in-person draft. Check. Step two is getting media passes so we can be in there and interview some of these.
This plus next.
Yeah, that'll work.
Hot tub.
$500 a night.
Yeah.
Nice. Step one was getting the Q draft back live. Check. Step two, getting us media passes so we can interview some of these draft picks prospects. And the best part about this is the last time we went, we had a lottery pick. And again, we have a chance to have a lottery pick again.
Jesus.
So,
well, the more
I said we have a chance.
These chances are, considering how well a certain team has been doing in the first half.
Come on, second half collapse.
I don't know how. I mean, Jesus Christ, our own pick right now is more of a chance of a lottery pick than the other one. But,
come on, second half collapse.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
like just start tank for the pick at this point. No, that would not happen.
No,
with the individual who runs the show around here. No, this is a very exciting time. I saw that come through, and I sent it to you like right away.
Yep.
And
the only thing that annoyed me more was it come through on Wednesday when the show already dropped instead of Monday when we could have put it on last week's show. But and we obviously you're gonna have we're gonna be live. We're gonna have videos, all the kind of stuff we can do, and we're gonna try and bring back the live Maritime Roundtable where we have all the media members from around that we've had on the trade deadline show here. The night before the draft, which is always fun, and we'll see if we can keep Jeremy sober, which didn't work last time. He's going to be so excited. Probably won't work this time. The team of the week, few names that I can actually say now. It's a good week when it's names I can say.
Oh.
Ivan, that one's easy.
Yeah.
3 games, 1 goal, 5 assists. Ben Allison, easy again.
Nice.
3 games, 5 goals, 2 assists. William Dumoulin, 3 goals, 3 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. A guy we kind of know pretty well, Etienne Morin, 3 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, and a +6. And Tristan Leno from Gatineau, 3 games, 1 goal, 5 assists. And the other guy we kind of know, Charles-Antoine Lavallee, 2 wins, a 9.64 save percentage, and a .98 goals against average. Your player of the week. is Etienne Morin of Moncton. We're probably going to get into something a little bit more on him, but I mean, the two defensemen in there are the top two scoring defensemen in the queue right now. Etienne Morin's got 13 goals. Tristan Luneau's got 11. So there's not much more you can say. I'll try to talk about it a little bit more later. Hashtag spoiler alert, but
I think the people know where this is going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was going to be, but once he won pretty much every award you could get, he was an easy decision as well. He is also part of the news and notes going to the Kubota Top Prospects game in Kelowna.
Shocker.
Whenever that is. I think that's in
January.
So he'll be on his way there. So that's now back-to-back years that Moncton's had representation at that tournament. It was Barb's last year and ran this year. So
I like our chances next year too.
Yeah,
a couple guys.
Yep. All right, sir. It was not here last week as you almost died. So
that's true.
Back again.
All right. So my team of the week is not. I don't have forwards. I don't have 3 forwards. I don't have 2D, and I don't have a goalie. But it's going back to what we just talked about with our potential lottery pick.
Yep.
My team of the week is the entire roster of the Rimouski Oceanic. 2 back-to-back wins over the Val-d'Or Furore. Thank you so much. Good job, guys. Excellent work. Couldn't have asked for better help there. Thank you so much, Rimouski. Love it. Thank you so much. Not sure how Val-d'Or ended up beating Quebec 2 times last week or something like that. Whatever. But for you to go out and do something that Quebec couldn't do, thank you.
Yeah, you had told me that you didn't really have a team, but it was going to be comedic, and that is
team of the week, the Rimouski Oceanic.
Well done. What is Val-d'Or? Where are they right now?
Fuck. We started.
15 and 15, 32 points. That's where in the overall.
They're up there.
Oh, they're in 10th. Yeah.
No,
right now our pick is slower than theirs. Was it top 5?
Look how close it is, though.
Yeah, they're 3 points up. So
you're five losses away from being.
McCallum's gone. Robidaw's gone.
Probably
Blackburn's gone. So, come on, second of collapse, please.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, we don't wish anything bad on the fans.
No,
there. We just want your
not.
first round pick. That's it.
Yeah,
We just want a lottery. We don't want 2 chances at the lottery. We just want your chance at the lottery. Perfect. All right. Well, I didn't expect that to be that quick. So we got a couple guests. Obviously, with Christmas time, you've got to have some guests kind of moving around, and they've got some other priorities and things come up with recitals and stuff like that. So no show tomorrow, but we do have both Willie Paloff and Pat McNeil. So let's get to that.
This is the most stacked lineup we've ever assembled for the most credible, informed, and entertaining deadline show anywhere.
All right, we are back for another Maritime episode and a Maritime trade deadline episode. This time it's going to be in the show because these guys are gracious to give us some time, but unfortunately we couldn't put this together on an actual episode. So representing the Mooseheads is Willie Paloff, and the voice you have heard a few times on here, Pat McNeil of the Eagles. Gentlemen, Merry Christmas to both of you. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everybody listening in as well, and always fun to be on the show.
Yeah, ditto from my end. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Nice to be on.
All right, obviously we'll kick it off with you, Willie. The big trade, the Mooseheads acquired 20-year-old Josh Lawrence. I mean, just early returns seem to be going well. Just talk about how that trade maybe affects the Mooseheads in the future as well as maybe at the deadline.
Yeah, well, I'll go back to training camp, really, when they only had one overager make the team out of camp. Smart by Cam Russell to sit tight, because overagers are usually lower priced as the year goes on because teams need to move them. So they pick up Stefan Huard Jr. from Sherbrooke for, I think it was a 6th. And then on paper right now, the trade for Lawrence is a 1st and a 2nd. But I think the common knowledge is that James Swan will go to Blainville for some return of one of those picks. And that's a good deal for them. He's a good player, and they'll get a high pick. But for the Mooseheads, Lawrence, he's really, really standing out because if you watched Halifax's first 15, 20 games, it was really a one-line team. Jordan Dumais with Matthew Cataford, and some of the time Marcus Vidicek and others moving in and out. So it was obvious they needed some help. And Lawrence has been great, putting up tons of numbers, but especially good in the faceoffs. Leads the league. I think he's above 60%. So all around a great pickup.
And I guess going over to you, Pat, just I guess before we get into the question here, the fact that I'm talking to like Pat and Willie here brings me back to memories of Charlottetown. I'm sure you guys know the restaurant Pat and Willie's. They used to be on Kent Street in Charlottetown. So I'm having some PEI flashbacks here right now. But getting to my question, yeah, Pat, so obviously there's a lot of talk about Jeremy Langlois being on the move. Obviously one of the better defensemen that are on the market right now. Do you see this, if he is in fact dealt, do you see this as earlier in the trade period, or do you think maybe they wait to see what other some of the other attention, some of the other D to get to put a face, I guess, a value on the face?
Tough to say. It would depend, I guess, on what happened to the last 3 games as well. The team hasn't said anything in terms of what direction it'll go, but I think anybody would have to think that will be in play. And obviously, they're not just going to give Jeremy Langlois away, but based on the last couple of years, the team still wants to be competitive. They've talked about wanting to make the playoffs, and on paper, this is definitely a playoff team, but the first half hasn't gone to plan, so you still want to make yourself in position to succeed. Although you look back at the years they traded Dubois and Batherson, they didn't necessarily take a step back, so I think that might be the case here. If Langlois move, you might see other trades to bring in other veterans. In terms of when it happens, well, both Sylvain Couturier and Richie Thibault had told me they found the phones a little bit quieter than usual, so that would indicate to me that any sort of major trade, regardless of whether it involves Cape Breton or whomever, is probably going to come later, unless it's something that's, like what Willie was talking about, predetermined trades. It seems like everybody knows that Justin Robidas will be on his way to Quebec, so if one of those dominoes of a pre-made trade falls early, then maybe we will start to see some more trades. But, obviously Sylvain Couturier likes to make trades in any season, so I'm sure we'll see something. Whether or not Langlois is on the move, I'm sure people are calling about him, that's for sure. But what fit is out there is yet to be determined.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to you there, Willie, you mentioned earlier about the acquisition of Stéphane Huard Jr. With a 20-year-old. Do you see him sticking around for the rest of the way, or do you see him as possibly being traded to bring in an upgraded, I guess, goaltender or defenseman?
Yeah, if there is an upgrade at 20, it probably would be a goaltender, only because it's not a great year for 19-year-olds that are available who would represent any kind of an upgrade on Brady James. Mathis Rousseau is 18. He's not going to go anywhere. He's the number one right now. And I think he's capable of being a goalie on a contending team. It's just how secure are they with Brady James in there. So if, like Pat says, if the next month they take a big step back in goal and they really feel desperate, then they would have to trade Huard Jr. But my instinct is they won't. He seems to fit in well. He's very versatile. And he's experienced, right? Like, they're quite a young team, and they don't want to I don't know that they want to go all in. So I think they want to keep guys in camp that they already know are good leaders and they like him. So that would be my guess. But I wouldn't rule it out either, I guess is what I'm saying.
I just hope there's a certain goalie from a certain island that doesn't end up in Halifax from a Moncton perspective, because we generally don't have a lot of good luck with against that certain franchise goaltender there. Pat, I mean, this team, I know you guys had a fan forum, and your owner talked about wanting to make the playoffs this year, and obviously you're kind of in a holding pattern. Are you going to try to acquire a little bit? Not quite sure what you're going to do. Ivan, I mean, he's probably one of the top 3 Euros that are out there after Brabenec, and you've got him, you've got Barbashev. I mean, that are on the move. Obviously, Halifax has a couple real good ones, but is Ivan? I mean, he's one of the more popular players. Is there an appetite where fans are like, let's just keep him for the year, or they understand, like, if we can get a return, let's get a return?
I'd be surprised if he moved just because of the dual slot with the important 20-year-olds. I mean, anything is on the table, obviously. And I feel like if the team was given an offer that would knock their socks off, then obviously you have to listen. And the fact that he's capable of playing his own end adds to his value for sure. It's tough to make those trades because you're asking a team to take up 2 spots. And you have to factor in, if you're a team that's had, a lack of success the last few years, you can take a step back in some areas. As I said, Langlois is going to be called on, and there's no guarantee he gets moved. But, I think people would know if a team comes in with a big offer. It'd be the same for Ivan. It's just probably less likely that one of those offers comes in. And you never say never, because there have been examples of 20-year-old imports on contending teams in the past. It's just, finding a fit there, I think, would be a little bit tougher. And, you have to kind of grade on a curve, because if you want to have some success now, then you have to kind of be blown away by the offer. So I'd be surprised, but, the Q trade deadline usually produces a couple of surprises. So, never say never. And as I said, we have a GM that likes to move and wheel and deal, which is probably a good thing when you're trying to reconstruct. So it's a possibility, but I don't know if it's really something that's high on a lot of people's list, just because of, it's a player who takes up two quote unquote special spots on the roster.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, you guys as well as us, we're waiting for the Brabenec domino to fall, see what he gets if he's able to be moved, and then we're both kind of in the same spot where if the move is there, we'd like to make it, but if it's not, then obviously keeping a player like that is a very real possibility, because neither team is really going all in for that. Looking over at you, Willie, and Halifax. From us, you guys have upgraded in the forward position now with Lawrence in the top six. Is Cam Russell looking defensively to upgrade a couple positions, or is it more he's looking for a goaltender to kind of make more of a run without kind of pushing everything in? Where would he be more apt to go look if he's going out shopping?
I mean, the short answer is I kind of feel like he's not going to do a lot. I don't sense a huge appetite to push all their chips in, because they will be good next year too, perhaps better than they are now. Perhaps the one upgrade is maybe with a little more size in their top nine. Somebody who can play with some of their smaller forwards, because once you get past maybe Zach Leroux, it's pretty small up there. Talking about Jordan Dumais and Josh Lawrence and Marcus Vidicek, and I know the game's changed and all that, but you get into these long playoff series with some of these teams like Quebec, and Gatineau was just in here last night, and they can push you around. The night before, they've got big guys who are heavy, and at a 7-game series, they can wear on you. So, but if he does do that, again, that's a pretty hot commodity, and they don't give players like that away very cheaply. So
yeah,
it's going to be dictated by what's out there. And I do think it's a good buyer's year. There are a lot of teams that don't feel like they can win. There may be only 4 or 5 contenders. So they do have that going for them. So maybe, like I was saying with the Huard Jr. trade and even the Lawrence one, the price was right. So if the price is right, they'll do that. And otherwise, I think they'll just sit tight and see where they get.
Yeah, it seems like a very odd year.
Pat, back to you. I guess one player that jumps off the page for me at the forward spot that could possibly be belt is Samuel Johnson. He's only been around for 6 months, maybe not even with the Eagles, but he's been off to a pretty good start, and obviously someone that could very well garner some attention as a possible upgrade. Between him and what's his name on the fence that I just talked about? Langlois, that's the one. Sorry about that. Wow. Do you see those two as kind of the two hot commodities on the Eagles this year?
Yeah, I think can definitely raise the stakes with the amount of points he's producing, and again, it would come down to offers and needs. But obviously, anybody who's producing over a point a game is going to be somebody that teams are looking at for sure. And there's so many players moved in and out in a short period of time, and the Eagles have shown that they're not hesitant to make a move just to kind of shake things up. But I already saw Zach Graval go out, and he seemed like a good fit and had nothing good things to say about his time in Cape Breton. But it was a time to move him out with Trevor Thurston coming in on the back end. So definitely a possibility. It's 20-year-olds. It's always different. You don't know what the market looks like, because you're grading a curve again. But definitely, I'm sure teams are calling on him. It's just a matter of whether or not you find a fit. But that's something the team has to be open for. Like I said, I think what you might see is with this Eagles team, any move that results in sort of a sell would have maybe a smaller corresponding buy. like you want to cash out on your prime asset. So I think with Johnson, it will be if you find a team that identifies this guy as being someone who's going to really fill a need for them and that's going to pay a price, then perhaps. And the other thing too is I think with the Eagles, so the next few games may determine a lot too, because if you go into the break slumping, this is not a slight against St. John, but they're obviously at the bottom of the league.
Yep.
So if you go into the break having lost some games against them, then you might be more inclined to move one of your better players because you think, well, even if we're quote unquote selling, the chemistry we have here isn't working. So, then maybe we're not taking a step back. So I think that might play into, and that'll be, so these last few games could be very key in that respect to determine what the Eagles do. And obviously Johnson will be a guy that the teams will be looking at because it's logical he'd be available.
So just one last one for me, and we were talking about players kind of moving out. So let's look a little bit ahead, and either way you could jump on this one. The rookies that you guys got moving in the second half that could play some extended minutes, and obviously with Halifax, they might not play as many with some of the guys that you may bring in or not. But I mean, Cape Breton, you've got Luke Patterson, Olivier Hood, Will Shields, De Russo, Jack Martin, and Braden McPhee in Halifax. Just talk about the young guys that are going to be here, and maybe counted on to play some minutes in the second half.
Well,
go ahead, William.
my list is shorter, I'm sure, than Pat. Because the fourth line doesn't play a whole lot, and really there's only one fourth liner rookie, and that does get any ice, and that's Reese Peich. And when I say any, it's always less than 10 minutes. So he, I think, will stay in that range. But the one kid that will probably keep playing and play more even, perhaps, is Owen Phillips. The coaches really seem to like him for a 10-year-old defenseman. He's quite polished, and he's playing ahead of Jack Martin, another rookie. Who will play more if there is an injury, but right now he's number 7. So a little different than the situation at Cape Breton where they have a bunch of guys on the ice.
Yeah, and here we might not, even if the Eagles were, I don't expect this team to do a full-on sell, but even if they did, as I said, it's probably very unlikely, but even if they did, for some of the young guys, I don't even know if that would give more ice time because Thomas Lavoie was playing between 25 and 30 minutes a game earlier in the year just due to injury concerns, right? And same with Xavier Daigle. So those two guys have been logging huge minutes, and they're both key defensemen now for the Eagles. So expect that to continue regardless of what happens on the back end. And William Shields has ducked in and out of top 6 duty. He was on the top line for a while with Johnson and Ivan. So we'll see if that becomes more of a common thing. He's been playing in the third line as of late. Thomas De Rousseau has been in and out of the lineup, which is not uncommon for a 16-year-old. So I think if the Eagles decide to get younger, you'll probably see more of Thomas De Rousseau. Olivier Hood, and this is really a trend. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this. I wrote about this in the Cape Breton Post a few weeks ago, that this year more than ever, we're seeing older rookies make an impact. You look at Victoriaville, they're the surprise team of the year. They have 5 19-year-olds in their lineup. Of those 5, 4 of them made their Q debut at 18.
Yeah.
So you're seeing more and more of that in the league, and Olivier Hood's an example of that. So he's already playing in key roles too. So I think right now in Cape Breton, we've seen the young guys kind of already get a lion's share of the work. So I don't know if that would necessarily change depending on what happens with the team over Christmas.
Last one, and it's kind of a combo question for the both of you. We've gotten the same answer for when it comes to this question, but I guess player-wise and team-wise, who would be your, I guess, biggest surprises of the first half?
I guess I'll start on this. I guess Victoriaville for me is the surprise team, and just I talk about those 5 19-year-olds not being that experienced, and only 5 19-year-olds too. I mean, it's just unbelievable to see what they've done. For us locally, Olivier Hood has been a pleasant surprise. Obviously, a really good training camp, but you don't expect an 18-year-old to contribute like he did. In terms of the other side of the scale, and obviously Blainville-Boisbriand is probably the disappointing team of the first half. They didn't have a lot of luck with guys that didn't come and some injuries, but I feel like, especially when you saw them the way they played in Sydney, you saw the framework when they won that game in Cape Breton of even how they could be competitive even without the guys they lost. So it's a little bit surprising that they've slumped out of the blocks, so to speak. But Victoriaville, to me, their success, that's probably the most surprising we've seen any team in quite some time. I'm having a hard time remembering a team that was at the top of the standings that was so, and it's not to say that, they were expected to be a weak team by any means, but it's very rare in the queue that you have a contender kind of come out of nowhere. So to me, they're the pleasant surprise of the first half of the season in the queue.
Yeah, that kind of stole all my answers with those two teams.
That's what I do.
because I would have had Blainville, Boisbriand, and Victoriaville flipped going into the season. I thought they were a contender because, of course, they brought Lawrence in, which signals that they're going to try to win something.
Yeah.
And a few other things didn't go right for them, but for them to be this low is surprising to me because they actually have a good group of players. And Victoriaville won the league 2 years ago, and as everyone knows, that usually means you're going to be rebuilding for 2 to 3 years. But here they are after 1 year up in the top 5. I don't know if they can keep it up, but they are a better team than you first think they're going to be. So, I mean, if I'm talking about the Mooseheads, and I only want to call it a mild surprise because Matthew Cadford was tremendous as a rookie last year, but for his production to be as high as it is as a 17-year-old, he's in the top 10 in scoring. He could push for 100 points. It's been a long time since we've seen a draft eligible player, and I don't count Jordan Dumais because he's kind of otherworldly in his own way, but a guy who's being looked at like him, put up those kind of numbers, but also play defense and lead at that age on a team that has a decent group of leaders. So he's a guy I would point to as well.
Well, don't be too sad that Pat stole your answer there, Willie, because that's now 5 for 5 that has picked Victoriaville and Blainville as the surprise and kind of the disappointment in the first half. And luckily we got Cedric on next week, so we'll be able to ask him about that moving in. But, gentlemen, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you got some Christmas activities to get to. So, as always, we truly appreciate you guys giving us some time for the trade deadline show. And hopefully we'll have you on in the second half and see how things are going.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to it. And hello again. Hello, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody listening in.
Yeah, right on. Thanks for having me on too, guys. It's good talk.
I mean, first of all, I'd love to have those two on. I really wish we could have each of them on for kind of a 15 segment on their own, but we do appreciate them kind of being willing to come on the show together. I mean, it's tough with Halifax. How much do you push in when they have a lot of conventional wisdom in the past couple of years, which would have allowed going against conventional wisdom, which would allow them to half in now and half in next year, where they would have had more assets if they had moved to NYA.
Well, yeah, that's the question, right? They could have traded Barron 2 years ago. They could have traded Desnoyers, but they didn't. Yeah. I think they'd be more set to make a run, not just this year, but also next year, if they would have traded those two guys. But for some reason, they didn't. I almost wanted to ask Willie if he thought there was any possibility that they would really swing for the fences and go after Kidney and Melanson from Bathurst.
Yeah.
But that would be an all-in.
Yeah, that's going.
That would be an all-in, and then that would essentially be that would be it. They would not be competitive next year.
Even better next year.
Well, they'd still be kind of competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd still have Dumais and Vidicek, but if you're gonna, because if they're trading for Kidney and Melanson, Cataford's going to be a future, and that would be a future in that deal.
Dylan
McKinnon would be a future in that deal. It would basically be equivalent to what we had to give Halifax as futures, because we gave away LaRue, we gave away Desnoyers. Those are our two top prospects in our system. Yeah. And that's exactly what Halifax would have to give to Bathurst.
They'd have that good first half, and then they'd have to move off of Vidicek.
Yeah, Dumais. They have to recuperate some of those assets because it would be an absolute tire fire for the next 3 years in Halifax. I don't see it.
Well, if we had more time with them, you asked that question. When he talked about the goaltending, I would have asked, do you think there's a possibility Darvaux, who you mentioned last week?
Yeah, that's
right. That's not your 20. That saves that position. But again, hopefully the guy that we have no luck against from the island ends up there. But yeah, and then Cape Breton. I mean, you had sent me the message that they had the forum and their GM wanted to.
You basically promised the fans they make the playoffs this year,
and I like that from a standpoint of, being an Oilers fan. It was acceptable to have early round picks, and it was acceptable to. They're learning how to win. It's okay if we lose. It's fine. That's great in the NHL when you're making the money they're making. Mm-hmm. But when you're in Sydney and you have that market, and that market's had some losing for quite a while, at some point you need to make a stance like, no, we are going to make the playoffs. And right now they're 2 points out on Blainville. You got to assume Blainville's going to move. We were going to have Cedric on this week, but some things came up. We'll have him on next week. We'll ask about that. I mean, that's really what they're competing with. Charlottetown, Bathurst, who seem to be sellers. So they are in a good spot to get into that 14-15 range trade-wise.
Yep, absolutely. I'm super excited for this trade period just because I have no idea what these teams are going to do.
No, including our own.
That's true. I mean, there's some obvious moves on our end that need to be done, but we're going to, by the time we get to talking about our own team, half these deals are probably going to be done.
Yeah. Missed it by 1 week. I was trying to get everyone in before the deadline.
Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking. I thought the deadline would be like halfway through the week, so we'd be okay.
Yeah. But it always
always
starts
Sunday.
That's immediately after the last game.
Yeah.
On Saturday, whoever's playing in that last game, that's when that's when you'll start seeing leaks on social media.
The old little set bombs.
Yeah, but I know we didn't get a chance to mention this to Pat, but Pat, if you're listening, it's perfectly fine if you come on our show wearing jeans, unlike when you go to watch your team practice in Quebec. If you're you're allowed to wear jeans when you're talking to us. That's all I gotta say.
Real good then.
Yeah.
All right.
He'll get it.
No, I know he will. I don't. But I know.
I'll tell you after.
Oh, perfect. I'm just trying to go look at the schedule to find out who that last set of games is.
He'll probably have a good chuckle when he hears that one. I think a couple people have a good chuckle when they hear that story.
What are we at? The 18th.
Wouldn't it be the 17th?
17th, yeah.
The 16th or 17th, whenever it is.
Well, we play on the 17th of the Saturday against Bathurst.
The 17th is Saturday?
Yeah.
I thought the 16th was Saturday.
No. 16th is Friday.
Is it a home and home?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there
it is.
The last game is the Moncton Bathurst at 7, Halifax Charlottetown at 7, Cape Breton St. John at 7, and Drummondville Rouyn-Noranda at 7.
So whenever that Quebec game ends is when you'll start seeing some names trickle through on.
Quebec is done at 4 o'clock. Well, they play at 4 o'clock East, so.
But it's interesting now that Kidney didn't make Team Canada. His deal can be announced.
Melanson, Robidaw.
Yeah.
All three of those can fall, and those are your big dominoes.
Yep. So this is good because that's going to be the price.
Coming to Moncton.
That's going to be the price setter.
Could you imagine?
I wouldn't be in this chair next week. I mean, screw this, guys. I'm done.
No. That's just no. That would be, That would be the sound effect. At no point do I think those two players are coming to Moncton. At no point do I want those two players to come to Moncton this year. Maybe 2 years from now, that's the type of deal we'll get into making. But let's get into talking about our own team here.
Weekly Rewind.
The Wildcats finally have a winning record in 3 games. They finally go 2-1 over the weekend with wins over Bathurst, St. John, before again losing to the Cape Breton Eagles, which brings our record to 14-12, 0-2 for 30 points, staying second in the Maritimes, 5th in the conference, but not by a whole lot, as I'm talking slowly so I can find how convoluted that Western Conference is. But my computer's not going to agree with me, so it is what it is. Thursday, the return of Auger and Baudouin. It showed. I mean, they beat Bathurst 3-2. They took control of that game early. I think they were outshot them 8-2 early on. It looked like a completely different team when you get your character, your heart back in the lineup. The top 6 looked a little less junior A, looked a little bit more. Well, not top 6. The team looked a little less junior A when you add those kind of players. Thomas Auger got us on the board, scoring. It was so good to tweet that feeling 22 again.
Yes, it was.
And then the second period, I mean, they had a second period to start where they just kind of fell apart early in the game. It was 2 goals on 5 shots. But, again, star of the week, Etienne Morin just settled everything down. They got the victory against Bathurst, which they needed to get. They needed to get a win in division because all these games over the next 2 weeks are in division. So it was a big win for them on Thursday.
Yeah, it was good. We needed to get off that those the 3 games. They've been playing a lot of hockey.
Yeah,
they've been playing a lot of hockey, and it's scary to think that I say that, because if you look at the games played, there's teams who have actually played more hockey than the Wildcats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, there's like Moncton's currently at 28 games played, and like Val-d'Or has played 32. Gatineau has played 32. Like, I can't. I know the season is the same length, but I just, growing up and following this team, I don't remember like these schedules being so convoluted.
It's the Wednesday travel. It's trying to get everything. It's trying to get that Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, so teams have less of the long travel.
It's
I think
that, but it's also the seasons used to start mid-September.
Yeah.
Now it's like the end of September, so that's 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. It's gonna, like, when we talked a couple weeks ago, we said there's 10 games left in the season for this, not the season, in the first half. How is this team gonna? How are they gonna do in these 10 games? Like, they must be like probably 500 right now, but I haven't really paid attention. But they've got 3 games coming up this week, right? And they're gonna be 3 or 4 they're playing this week.
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Oh my
Wednesday,
God.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to get that, that win against Bathurst. I think they did a really good job of shutting down their top guys, kept them to the outside, and goaltending was good. No questions, no concerns about that goaltending performance. They got the goals when they need it, and I think you said it. When they had their leader back in the lineup in Baudouin, they had their character back in Auger. You can see that kind of lifted the spirits of the team.
Yep.
And they had Riley Sampson. I think that was his
That was his home
debut.
debut,
Yeah,
yep.
did very well, I thought.
Yeah.
Now, is that a showcase game? We don't know. It's.
I think it's more of you're going to have to play center for 3 games this week with 2 of our top 9 centers being out too, right?
That's true. I mean, it's probably not. He's probably still around.
Yeah.
You got to think he's still
Him
around.
and Matthews have to be still around.
Matthews is still around?
Well, I would assume they're going to bring him up, right?
I guess. Unless, who else could they bring up? I mean, I guess not much around here, is it?
No, there's not. That's why That's probably why Matthews was called in.
Yeah, that's true.
Before, and if you're going to get,
Did you know he's actually playing Junior B?
Is he really?
Dave Matthews is playing Junior B. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a player called up to the queue from Junior B.
Oh, I thought he was Junior A.
That's what I thought too.
Huh.
Straight Pirates, I think.
Huh. Good for him.
Yeah.
I would believe that Sampson, it wasn't so much a showcase game as a get your feet wet as a 4th line center, and because you're going to be playing a few more minutes here in the next 3 games in 4 nights. And then the Wildcast, a podcast, took a road trip up to St. John for, well, no pun intended, a wild one. Wildcats did everything right in the first 37 minutes. Had a 6-1 lead, and I know we talked to Marty after, and he kind of mentioned it felt a little early to have a 6-1 lead.
So that's the worst lead in hockey.
Yeah, it just about was. I mean, they pulled Hurtubise, and I thought it was 3 goals on 10 shots. It was the reason he got pulled, and then I looked down, and halfway through he hadn't been on the bench, so and he didn't play in the game against Bathurst, so it's a situation to monitor there with the trade deadline coming up in the next couple of weeks there. But last week you had said you win, you're in. I had said let's alternate them and go from there. I didn't think that Filion played bad. The Brady Burns shot, that was a rocket top shelf. Not many goalies are going to get that. The Danny Akoa one, Akush.
Bless you.
Thanks. That one, I don't think he saw. That was a screen. Eric's Mateko, that went off somebody's skate and in the net. Cam McDonald made a good move. That was 3 goals in a minute and a half, and he didn't really have a chance on any of them. So I didn't really have a problem with his game, but again, Baudouin was there to settle it down with a late power play goal.
That was a clutch goal too. I mean, like that was a clutch goal. We had the 2-man advantage late in the game to kill off.
Poor Jimmy, I thought he was going to have a stroke up in the first time in the press box.
Man, this team, I swear, it gives me like the friggin' team that's you just never know what they're gonna just. I need consistency in my life, and I'm not getting it from this team. And it's I'm going to have a heart attack one night.
Yeah.
And I honest to God thought they were going to blow that game, and I would be absolutely tearing a strip off of them this week.
It felt like a reversal of the Halifax game.
Well, that's it. It was that was one of the more. I mean, it's pretty rare that a team scores 3 goals.
Yeah.
In 73 seconds.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Like, oh man, I was so close to literally throwing everything. I could have threw my phone from that press box and it would have landed on the center ice.
Yeah, let's be honest. The only reason he was probably as chill as he was because we were up in the press box.
Well, that's it. If I would have been sitting in the stands, there would have been some yelling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
big
my
nights for
goodness.
guys. I mean, Preston Lounsbury had the first 2
Yeah.
goals. Baudouin had 4 points, a goal and 3 assists. Barbashev had 4 assists. Lounsbury actually had 3 points on the night. I don't mind the Preston Lounsbury experiment on the top line.
I couldn't agree more. He's
Now, he
a
won't be
lot
there when
faster than
yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
He's got some wheels to him.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was that fast of a skater.
No. Which helps LaBelle because LaBelle is used to playing with speed with Loshing, and I don't think there's an offensive drop off from Loshing to Lounsbury.
Mm-hmm.
But this is doing nothing but helping Preston Lounsbury
yeah,
when eventually he moves down to that third line. Like, he's a center by trade, and he's a very good center. But having him on the wing, I don't have any issues with him being up on that top. I was a little surprised he was still there when Auger and Baudouin came back, but I don't have an issue with it.
No, he's earned it. I mean, it's good. I mean, he's for someone playing locally, like, growing up locally and getting this opportunity. It doesn't happen very often for players from Southeastern New Brunswick. So he's taking advantage of his chances here and his opportunities, and he's making them. He's making a serious case to get extra minutes coming down in the second half, because if you're going to bring in some extra bodies in the trade period, you still got to find room for him to play. You still got to find room for some other guys to play too, and it's very easily this could be very easily an audition for second half ice time. And there's a player that we signed a month or so ago that has essentially been invisible after his first couple games, and
he had the audition on the top 6.
Yeah, he had his cup of coffee, and I don't think he's poured himself another cup since.
Nope.
So that's just opportunities that are going to be bigger for some others, and obviously Preston's the one that's jumping at it, and because there's other young guys that should be playing bigger roles, and they're just not.
Yep. And then they went into Cape Breton.
And
got down, came back, got into penalty trouble. 7 penalties again. They went 0 for 4. They allowed Cape Breton to go 2 of 7. Got back to within 1, and then took, I think, a 4-minute high stick penalty. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how bad the penalty was. I assume it's just a high stick that got. I assume that it was his high stick that drew blood. I don't know if it was egregious or anything like that, but again, this team right now is 9-4 in the Maritime Division, and 9-4, 0-1, and 2 of those losses, including a shootout, are against Cape Breton.
Yep. What was that? Oh, I got that stat here.
Yeah,
I got the stat.
That's why I teed you up for that stat.
You keep talking. I knew you were going to ask me that, and let me find it here.
Yeah, it's a 9-4, 0-1 against the Maritime Division. So they are playing over 500, obviously, and they're playing very well against their division, which, they got 3 Halifax, Bathurst in the division. They got Cape Breton, Charlottetown, St. John, Cape Breton again before they actually see a Quebec team the first week of January. So these are all big games in the division. 5 or 6 of the next 7 are on the road. This team is right now 5-6 on the road, so they got a good opportunity to kind of get better on the road. They've been a pretty good home team. They just have the one home game left. But do you got the stat teed up there?
Yeah, I do. This is
That's a good one. This
is a really good one. This is compliments of the
for you.
Wildcast podcast unofficial statistician, Dave McKnight. So Cape Breton has played against 16 of the 18 QMJHL teams since November the 18th.
Yep.
Their record against 16 of those 18 teams, 0-8. Now, that leaves only 2 teams that they haven't played since November 18th. Well, one team they haven't played. The other team is the Wildcats. The Eagles are 2-0 against the Wildcats since November the 18th. So the only team that Cape Breton has beaten since November 18th are the Moncton Wildcats.
And I just don't get it.
Twice.
And the team and Moncton's undefeated against St. John right now. And both those teams are kind of struggling to get out of the basement. I mean, one team's kind of trending a little bit up. St. John is obviously in year 0 of the rebuild, but it's just, I don't know what frustrates Moncton against Cape Breton. And Ruccia played really well against us the last time. We had almost 50 shots on him, and he just held that team in it. I don't know how many shots we have last night. 36, again. Outshot them 13-8 in the third period when they were trying to come back. It's just their goaltenders are having success against us. Satney and Ruccia in the past 2.
I don't know what it is. This is nothing against Cape Breton, but they're obviously their game against Blainville the night before. The consensus around Sydney was that it was an absolute terrible performance. So maybe they obviously wanted to come back the next day and put on a show for their fans, because it was, less than 24 hours before that game Sunday against Moncton that their owner promised they'd make the playoffs. So the team wants to deliver on that promise.
Yeah.
This was their first opportunity to do it, and they took advantage of it. So obviously they're using that as motivation, and it's too bad that the Wildcats didn't get a hold of that quote, because they could have used that in their dressing room. But
they got it now.
The thing that sucks, I think, about this game, they were down what was it 3-0?
3-0, yeah.
And they got it to 3-2, and then Gabe Smith got his first goal.
Yeah.
And then literally the next shift, they got the 2-goal lead back after Gabe Smith's goal. I was like, that's a backbreaker. You got all the momentum. Your 16-year-old rookie forward just got his first goal. He's pumped up. The players are pumped up. You're getting some momentum. And then you go let them score the next shift.
She gone.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
It was over. That was the TSN turning point.
Yeah, we got one more game against Cape Breton in the year, in 2022. So hopefully we can get off that snide. We get a win against them, and then their first game in 2023 is against Cape Breton, January 4th. So that'll end the 7 of 8 on the road, as we got Halifax, Bathurst. This is the week you just stay healthy. You just get to the Christmas break. This is generally that game on Saturday, maybe the worst game that both teams play, because they know Mom's Cooking is around the corner. They're ready to get out of here. The plane trips are ready to go. So again, this is a week that you got to stay healthy. I do want to ask you one controversial question, and I asked you when we went up to St. John. And there's a certain player that came in with a lot of expectations, forward, and he cannot really find his footing right now. Now, Richie wants to upgrade the offense. Do you think this player, I don't really want to use his name, but do you think that he's part of the carrot that will be dangled to bring in some offensive talent? Like Richie talked about it in the Académie Nouvelle, like a Samson or a Delorier. I don't want this player, but you look at the top 6 and he can't find footing in there. If we kind of upgrade offensively a little bit, does he deserve a move to a place where maybe he gets a little more ice time, because he's a very talented player.
He's a very talented player. However, if we haven't moved on from a certain goaltender, I don't think we would move on from a player that's a year younger, has a late birthday. You know, it's. I can't see it happening. I really don't. I think if they're going to deal any players, I think it'll be their recent picks, the recent draft picks. Because
he would be the top-rated kind of prospect type that you could dangle to get. But it depends on the return. But I don't think they should. I don't think they should give up on him.
I don't think they should either. I think it's way too early.
Yeah.
Because
depth is not a bad thing to have in all 4 lines, and he's proving depth.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I probably expected a little more from him this year, but I still think it's way too early to even give it a thought. Because I think you used your compensation pick on this one. I think from Ryan Hopkins. I think, because Morin was 21, and this Mercier was 23.
There's the name.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about. And I think it's way too early to give up on him.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I just wondered, we're going to try and bring in, Richie wants to try and bring in some younger, and when I say younger, I mean 18, 19 year old, be here for a couple of years. I think he is the compensation pick.
Yeah, he's got to be. No, that'd be a huge mistake if it's.
And the only reason I'm asking right now, he was 23. The only reason I'm asking right now is because we could have a few trades by the time we get into our trade show. So that's why I'm just kind of asking if he's maybe one of the top younger guys that they kind of dangle to bring in.
I don't see. So when it comes to Moncton, I don't see Richie being super active bringing in players early in the trade period.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be he'll be subtracting early and then looking what's out there. And because right now there's 8D.
Yep.
And one of them is in and out of the lineup every night. Well, this one that's in and out of the lineup every night needs to play every night. Grenier, don't know what his situation is. He's hurt. Don't know how long he's out for. But that's another question. But Ballantyne needs. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Ballantyne needs to play, and you need to move out at least 1D for that to happen.
Yeah,
because you can't go the rest of the way with 8D. And you can. But. You're just going to be rotating in and out.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
They can have 10D for all I care.
Yeah.
As long as they got the right guys playing every night.
Yeah.
But Ballantyne needs to play. And so you've got to move one of these guys out. And right now, the guy, I think, with the best value, I'd say, was Thomas Darcy. And, there's another one that's you could probably a 20-year-old that you could probably make a case for, but it all depends on what's needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a younger defenseman that's I wouldn't say younger, but one that could probably be a
is that the one we talked about last week?
Yeah.
And talked about on the drive up?
Yeah. That could possibly be like a surprise move, if you want to put it that way.
He would remind me of the Sean Stewart move, where a team would get a really good 5-6 defenseman that can do good things, and we bring back a guy that's going to be here for 2 or 3 years, right? We moved Sean Stewart for Hamel, and I think that trade has worked out.
Well, this defenseman has a better value than Sean Stewart.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
So the return would have to be, he was a 4th round pick, so you've got to be, you got to get a pretty good return if you're going to be dealing.
That's what I mean. He's going to bring back a player. Yeah. Like, that's not just going to be a picks type deal. That's going to be bringing back.
That's going to be if you're going to be bringing in a forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the defenseman that's going to get the job done for you. Yeah, so if I were to take a guess, I'd say probably one defenseman for sure gone, possibly two. And I would say maybe two forwards.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it could. I think I'm not saying Richie's going to go bargain shopping, but he's definitely going to see what dominoes fall, how high the prices are, and just kind of use his assets the best that he can. Because last year we were gushing over Bayerjean and the Bayerjean pick, and he's going to the TELUS Cup final, and this is going to be a guy. And sometimes you got to give up prospects that have the potential that have never played, nobody knows. Well, that trade for Baudouin seems to be working out right now, and it's Bayerjean's first year, but that's the type of deal where Delorier or what was the other one I said before?
Samson
or
Legare.
Yeah, those are the type of deals that we're not sure what they're going to be, but if you can get a return for those type of players, they work out in your favor. That's never a bad thing. So it's going to be an interesting deadline. I think you're right. I think he kind of hangs off on that first weekend in terms of bringing some guys back. But I think it's more of a on the way out, which fans will lose their mind when it's what's going out.
Well, that's it.
And the return's not there. And well, what are we going to do now at this position? What are we going to do here? And what are we like? This is not a normal trade deadline like in the NHL where it's a day of trading. Like things are going to happen.
We've got 3 weeks for trades here, folks.
Things are going to fire off on the first weekend. It might affect us a little bit. Then we're going to have Christmas. Then that final week in January from the 1st to the 5th will be a flurry of deals. Like you got to remember last year we literally did a whole lot of nothing until the 11th hour of the last day.
Yeah, Richie
and it was a big one.
Richie and Trevor Georgie's sleepless night. I don't see any of that happening this year unless it's just a knock your socks off deal again, which I just don't think is going to happen. Last year was there's not a player out there that Moncton could possibly be getting back from the pros. That's
and that deal doesn't happen without that player coming back.
Oh, that's it. Right? We know that the trade started with Trevor Georgie calling about Thomas Couture.
Yeah.
And then they just started marking names down and saying, okay, we'll throw this guy in.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Philip Dow's he's come back to junior.
All right.
Let me call you back.
Yeah.
It's something like that's not going to happen this year.
Yeah, it would be. The return would have been an interesting trade to see, and you'd obviously see it off the books, and it would never get out of what it could have been if Dow would never come back, like what it started out being. But again, it's going to be one thing at the start, so don't freak out. And again, their social media people, whoever it is, doesn't make the trades.
Yeah.
So, and I know I've been guilty of not understanding why, and you tweet the teams. Their social media people don't make the teams. They don't have the answers. And then as we get into the second half, it might be a completely different trade deadline where we're bringing in players and you see the impact and you see the team and what it can be. So stay patient. Don't freak out after week one. Are you ready for everyone's favorite part of the show?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Eric Murray, Realtor, buy our house from him. Stick Tap of the Week.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stick Tap of the Week. I'm absolutely winging this. I usually have it written down, but I don't. I'm going to give this one to the organizing committee of the World Juniors here in Moncton.
Okay.
And I'll say why. They managed to get the Avenir Center almost completely sold out for a Monday game at noon.
Yep.
And how they managed to do that is just the old Wildcat way from like the early 2000s. You give free tickets to the kids at school. And the kids come on the buses to the games.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. There used to be so many games at the Moncton Coliseum in the early 2000s that were jam-packed with kids on a Wednesday night because schools got free tickets. And what better way to get fans in the stands than to give away tickets?
Ding, ding.
And I hope there's people listening that happen to work for the organization that we talk about, because I'm sounding like Adam right now on social media, but
Wait, is that a bad thing?
Not at all. You literally had kids in the building cheering for, pardon my language here, washed up CHL players and future NHL busts. Okay?
Yeah.
That's exactly how you make a building look better on TV. Even though games were not streamed for some reason, you suck. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And the unveiling of the team in the Plaza area Monday night at 5:00 was excellent idea. Was an excellent idea.
Yeah, it looked full.
There was I talked to Justin Hadley. He said there's probably a few hundred people there, and these kids that were there in their jerseys, they're getting autographs from Connor Bedard and Shane Wright. Hold on to those puppies.
Yeah, might want to hold on to them.
Hold on to those.
Yep.
I don't care if you got your minor hockey league McDonald's atomic jersey autographed by Connor Bedard.
Put that in a frame.
Put that in a frame. Don't wear it again. Tell your coach you quit the rest of the season because you probably only have one jersey.
Yeah. I don't care if your parents paid for it.
Yeah, phenomenal event that they put on Monday and into Monday night. Just incredible. I couldn't believe it's just that is next level thinking.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to get butts in the seats. I mean, yes, you're losing money, but you're also
You know what you're gaining it on?
merchandise,
Food prices.
food prices.
Because you know who has to bring the kids there?
The parents do.
The parents do.
And what do the kids want?
Popcorn and
popcorn,
pop.
cotton candy, pop, canned, you name it. They're gonna get it
Yeah.
because the parents aren't spending money on the tickets. So they're like, ooh, extra revenue.
Yep.
Well, you're gonna spend on the concessions.
Spending $40 to take your son or daughter there, you can have them eat.
That's it. It was so smart. And I was like, you know what? This is perfect. I didn't expect it to be a Monday game at noon,
No.
to be full. And then I'm sitting at the Tide and Boar Brewing on Sunday afternoon, and I just happen to open my Ticketmaster app and look at that. I looked at the seat map for the Monday, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
There's almost nothing left for a Monday game at noon. And then to find out that they give the tickets away to kids. My
And your
goodness.
school wasn't in on it, eh?
What a brainiac idea that
Imagine
was.
Avery pulls her lunch
Oh
kit
my
out tomorrow
God.
when you get home tonight, and she's like, Dad, they gave us these ticket things at school. But, I mean, yeah, they have 4 home games in December.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single holiday pack. Nothing. Your Wednesday games, your Sunday games, that's when it's the loudest in that building, is Sundays when it's kids. Come on. It's, like I said on social media, my ticket thread thing. They are putting their ideas to families of 4, which is fine, and groups of 10. If you're a single parent or you're a couple that wants a night out, as that show referenced a few times, no soup for you. No ticket deals. Nothing. Not a thing. No holiday packs. That's the first time in 5 years I haven't seen a holiday pack.
Yep.
With some type of something from the organization. So I was the only thing I wished out of that announcement was they came out of door 4 and they skated on the ice.
Oh, yeah?
I thought that would have been, like, because they just came on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
If they would have put them in and skated on the ice, come down to the Ian Fowler Oval and skate where Connor Bedard skated.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Marketing. It's a good thing we should be marketing, eh?
We should.
But that's excellent stick tap. Yeah, I didn't even think the team was going to be announced on Monday.
No?
No, I thought the tournament was going to go and they were going to announce on like a Thursday, Friday, with the tournament not starting till Monday, like the exhibition game's not starting Monday. I did not think it was going to be a week out, but again,
So they had Moncton the rest of the week just practicing?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yep, because they play. I think they only play their games here, so the team will be playing there, and
We should have invited Connor Bedard to the studio.
oh,
If Lucas Holton can get him, we can get him.
could you imagine? Wouldn't happen, but could you imagine?
Yeah.
Well, I missed out on that, but
Throw him in a Wildcat jersey and put it on. So, Wildcats trade for Connor Bedard. First interleague CHL trade.
You know what? And he's going to see that, and that's not by design that you're going to have American kids in that arena, Swedish or Finnish kids in that arena. I would not be surprised if our Euros next year will be from Finland, Switzerland, Slovakia.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, that is a recruiting because I would imagine the most popular team is the States. I would imagine they will be in that arena, in the dressing room. If the Wildcats allow a team to use that, here, Team USA, use our dressing room, use our facilities.
Yeah.
That's the best way you can recruit, right?
Well, it's going to be tough to get Americans. I mean,
It is.
If there was a certain American on America's team,
oh man,
maybe
missed it by 1 year. But this is the best recruiting.
Yeah, it's
and having Tybell and Mueller on that team, we could see more Swiss players.
I need to look at the Swiss roster to see what they've got for young players. Because I mean, it's good. It's a good point. You know, you could easily say, come play where we play, or come play with me, and
look at the fans, and the fans are showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how you recruit.
That's true.
Having World Juniors every 10 years.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the RE/MAX Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
And that brings us to the Wildcat of the Week, presented by Rosemary Lynn Massage and Spa. Right now, it's getting down to crunch time. Someone's almost running out of budget, almost running out of time. I really haven't even started. I got one gift. So if you want to get a gift for a lovely lady in your house or your mom, or just get them away, because let's be honest, the moms buy all the gifts. The dads are just as surprised as the kids are on Christmas. If you want to repay that back, give her a call. She's got a massage right now. Save $16 on a massage. Gel or acrylic nails, $55. Oh, sorry. Save $16 on a manicure, only $30. Gel or acrylic nails, $55. Save between $10 and $20. And then the pedicures are $40, where you can save $15. If you want to get any of those, give her a call at 506-830-1224, or visit her at Mountain Road, 1224 Mountain Road. You'd think I'd know how to read this by now. Maybe I should just put it in a soundbite. The Wildcat Player of the Week, if you can't figure it out by now, you're not really paying attention. I mean, let's see. He's on the QHL Team of the Week. He's the Player of the Week. He's going to the Kubota Top Prospects game. By the way, he's leading the league in scoring for a defenseman. He had 3 goals, 3 assists in the weekend set of games. Like I tweeted out, he's got 13 goals. Wildcats have 14 wins. That's not a coincidence. When he puts the puck in the net, and that St. John game, that first goal he had where it was a rocket top shelf off the post. Yeah. Both our eyes were just big. We looked at each other. We couldn't believe it from where we were sitting. He had the first one against Bathurst. 2, kind of the same shot coming across the middle. Let her rip, top shelf. He is just playing at another level right now.
He's on a heater.
Yep, he's on a heater. He's playing at another level right now, and when he scores, the Wildcats generally have a good night. The Wildcat Player of the Week is number 5, defenseman Etienne Morin. That'll do it for this week. Again, thanks to our 2 guests for our annual trade deadline show, where we talk to media members from around the Maritime Division about their plans for the Q trade period. It was Willie Paloff of the Saltwater Network talking Mooseheads, Pat McNeil, the voice of the Eagles, talking about the Eagles. Again, there's no show tomorrow. It was on this show because of time constraints, and it was a little quicker than we wanted to. But join us next week. We got Cedric Blodin of the Armada talking about their season and some insight in the Quebec teams as well. Johnny Rocket will join us talking about Bathurst, and we're trying to get a guest about Moncton. I don't know if we will, because do we need one? You guys
are the experts.
We are the experts as well. But that'll do it again. Enjoy your Christmas shopping. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast Podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.